viewers and subscribers. This is Superchocolatemilkshake, and I am here with a bit of a development story. Okay, so of recent, I joined the Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam of 2020, and I'm here to talk about the game development or at least the development for the game that I made. So, basically, when it comes down to it, the theme was out of control, and that's kind of how I describe the development of this game. Yeah, no joke, quite literally, things were out of control for this development. So anyway, let's just start off with the very basics, okay? So, when I first started working on this game, I messed around with the graphical assets first. Basically, I just made a simple character model, a very simple level, and then I just left it as that. And then, of course, I wanted to have something where, like, the game changed up mechanics almost every once in a while. But then I stopped and thought about it and went like, no, that's going to be way too freaking hard to implement. So instead, I just kept it as a basic platformer instead of doing what I wanted to do. So basically, when it comes down to it, I had to get everything that I needed done. Like, for example, the camera control, the character control, and the camera control and the character control. So I started programming those things first. Well, besides developing a piece of code that could run the window. But, well, let's just say some of the results of my code weren't exactly favorable. The camera wanted to do its own thing, and the player, well, he did move, but he didn't move properly enough. Let's just say, left caused the camera to pan up, and then right caused the camera to pan way faster than the character was moving, and I don't know what down did, and I don't know what up did, but the results were kind of funky, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is unplayable. Why? I mean, honestly, you can see the video, this little clip that I have up there. Basically, that kind of goes to show that, yeah, it was a little out of control, and honestly, I couldn't quite hammer down necessarily what was wrong with my code that I developed there. So basically what I did was that I scrapped it and started all over again. Yeah, I know. Basically, when it comes down to it, I had to restart 5 times, actually. The 5th iteration is the one that you are currently playing right now. But anyway, so outside of that, the next piece of development I did was for music, because technically, well, the internet went down, and I also lost most of my sources for help. So unfortunately, I was kind of AOL, and I couldn't get internet anywhere else in the house, so basically when it came down to it, I was all on my own for coding. So basically what I did was I kept kind of pressing on with some of the minor things that I already knew about coding beforehand, but also I went ahead and composed some music too to de-stress myself. And honestly, I gotta say, despite the fact that I did some loops and despite the fact that I put loops inside, some pre-made loops inside the game and repeated some of them over and over and over again, I gotta admit, this music's actually one of my better works. I mean, be sure to check it out down below. I'll have a link down to the Bandcamp down below if you want to take a quick listen to it. But when it comes down to it, the overall game, though, was actually pretty fun to play. Or at least, well, actually, no, sorry. The overall gist of it, though, was that I decided to go to bed tonight because it didn't look like the internet was going to come back up whatsoever, and I was having some major problems. In fact, I listed them right here. I mean, the next day, I got the internet back, working again. I went to Discord, I tried to get some help, and then all of a sudden, the help section of the server was full of people who were using Unity. Honestly, it's bad enough that I have a bias against Unity. I mean, I kind of have a bias against most pre-made game engines, but Unity especially. But, Unity is terrible. And this game jam has made me realize I mean, honestly, there's no words to describe how much I hate Unity. There's nothing that vivid. There's nothing that can make me, like, sound. I mean, there's nothing. Nothing. I can't think of anything at the moment. So, basically, when it comes down to it, yeah, Unity sucks. I am going to bash on it now. I'll bash on it in the future. I don't think it's ever going to get better. I think the only reason why it's popular was because it maintenance itself towards bigger companies, which made people think that it was easier. And of course, Unity also had this really big frickin' marketing campaign behind it too, after it became a free-to-use game engine. Even though, honestly, looking at the Unity's UI makes me hurt. Seriously, that is bad UI design if you look at UI and you hurt afterwards. So basically, when it comes down to it, I hate Unity. I actually had to go find my help elsewhere, and honestly, having some contact with some other people and trying to get into contact with some of the people that were with the Game Jam and trying to get into contact with some of the other people was actually not that bad of an experience. Actually, there's quite a few people out there who was more than willing to help, and honestly, I'm grateful for that. I really enjoyed the help, and honestly, I gotta thank some of these people too, because you know what? They did a fantastic job helping me out. Thanks to like Kat, Swan Game, somebody from Swan Games, and actually, wait, no, there was more people that helped me out, but thank you to all of you, okay? Without your help, I probably wouldn't have been able to make it through this game jam in one piece. And of course, I probably would have struggled throughout the entire thing. But honestly, I did figure out how to do collision detection better. I also did figure out how to use my if-else statements a little better. But however, the majority of my code just happens to be if-else statements right now. Yeah, it's kind of a nightmare to look at. At least it's not like the Yandere devs code, where it's nothing but if-else statements. But honestly, when it came down to it, actually, of recent, I just learned the Switch code. So honestly, when it comes down to it, it makes my code look a lot cleaner, a lot nicer, and honestly, probably easier to use for the computer anyway. Because the less lines of code that the computer has to read, the more faster a program in general, doesn't matter which, runs. So basically, when it comes down to it though, alright then, sorry. When it comes down to it, I have to admit though, the game jam did teach me quite a bit. And honestly, when it comes down to it, I had to restart my code at least 5 times. The 5th time is the current version that you're playing. Here is the other 4 times that I have backed up inside another folder. Basically, when it comes down to it, the first few lines of code the first few times were quite a bit of a mess, as I previously explained. And of course, when it came down to it, I finally got it to solidify. However, instead of making the character move itself, I made the background move, the character stay stationary, unless you had to jump. Which then, in that case, was basically, well, in that case, that was basically just me trying to be a little bit clever with some of the mechanics. And also, that did remove quite a few other if-else statements that probably would have slowed down and bugged the game. So basically, when it came down to it, I will admit I was a bit crafty with that. However, I don't think I'm always going to be able to pull that kind of stuff off, especially if I wanted to go ahead and do a director's cut of the game, which I am planning on doing, by the way. But overall, that's kind of what I did. I had to reprogram the collision detection for some of the platforms, though, and also I had to program in the collision detection for the walls. You will not be able to find it within the first build. In fact, when it comes down to it, I was playing the first build on that very first video I released about it a short while back. But link is also down in the description. But when it comes down to it, yeah, when it came down to the final build, actually, I just updated a few more things. I added a few more functionality things. Like, for example, actually on the screen where it says, where there's like that little humorous text box where it says, press this button to do this button to do this button to do this button to do this, and press any key that you want, but it's not gonna work. I actually made another one of those buttons do something. So please be sure to try it out and check and see what happens. So anyway, what can I say about this overall experience? Actually, I had quite a bit of fun. Even though there was a moment where I actually dealt with a bit of crunch time. Yeah, or at least I had the full crunch time experience. Quite literally, one night I was working all night because I had to get the game out tomorrow. I mean, I had to get the game out the next day. I was working all night. I sat down in front of my computer after getting up and having my little random walk because I had to get the little evening jitters out. And then, of course, I just sat down in front of my computer. My mind drifted off somewhere else, and my body became unable to move. And I was like that for probably about a good solid 10 minutes. After I got up from it, though, after I snapped out of it, though, I felt really, really good. But that was like a red flag signal to tell me, go to sleep, John. You're going to need some of that. So I decided to heat it, and I did. I cleaned off my bed, and I just went to bed. And relaxed and just went to sleep. And honestly, I gotta admit, it was a weird experience. I've never had anything like that before. And tell you the truth, now I really sympathize with people who go through crunch time. No joke. No joke. I feel sorry for them. But, like I said, actually I don't regret making this game, even if it was a broken game at the very get-go. And yeah, there are still quite a few bugs and glitches inside of it. If you want to experience them, just go down in the video, just go check out the video description down below. You'll have a link. But, when it comes down to it, though, the game is finished. It's finalized. Granted, there's still bugs and glitches, but you know what? At this point, I don't want to patch them out. They feel kind of like features anyway, because some of those bugs and glitches are actually fairly useful. So, when it comes down to it, I just didn't program some of them out. But please be sure to check out the game down below. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me how you like it. That feedback is invaluable. That was the overall goal of this game jam. And am I going to join more game jams in the future? Actually, I probably will. Tell you the truth, this was actually a lot of fun. And honestly, it got me to develop my very first game and push it out as fast as I possibly could. Now I'm planning on doing a director's cut. I'm planning on enhancing the graphics. I'm planning on doing a whole slew of other stuff. Please stay tuned for some updates on that. And of course, that's another big project being thrown on top of another big project that I'm also currently working on, which of course some of you guys may already know. I'm working on a game called Diagnosis Psychosis. So basically when it comes down to it, yeah. And I'm also working on another small project about an idea that I had before the game jam, but however didn't necessarily work with the theming of the game jam. Well, I guess I could have made it work, but honestly, I didn't really necessarily want to try to apply any ideas of Out of Control to the game, so honestly, I decided to scrap it and go with something else, and go with a whole new, fresh idea as soon as I possibly could. So that's kind of how the game jam worked. However, when it comes down to it, yeah, I'm actually not gonna lie. I like my game. I kind of look back at it very fondly. At least I have something that I can look back to and feel happy for, and feel like I actually accomplished something with. And hopefully you guys enjoy the game, you give me some invaluable feedback. If you want to, there is a pay if you want feature on this, but you don't have to pay me, okay? You don't have to give me money. And if you want to give me money after playing the game and you don't want to go back to the sites and do the pay if you want feature, be sure to check out my Patreon. Like I said, you don't have to give me the money if you don't want to. It's all up to you. So anyway, if you liked this video, please be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and comment down below. Please tell me what your feelings are on this game, and if you haven't played it, please be sure to play it yourself. The link is in the description. And I'll see you all in the next video. This is Super Chocolate Milkshake, signing off.